I'm just off a live with the amazing Leslie Logan at Profitable Pilates, and now I am live just to have a chat on Instagram, doing my normal, or my last in fact, Claire shares for our UK lockdown. And I'm going to bring somebody on who's going to have a chat with me this evening, which is really exciting. We're going to have a conversation. She's going to ask, I don't even know what, and it's going to be amazing because she is fantastic and a Pilates devotee for years. And I'm going to bring her on in a minute. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for continuing to hang out with me on these Sunday nights. It's been really nice to have a conversation, to answer questions, to share with you some of the things that I'm passionate about, and hopefully support and answer, support you in where you are in this madness that we're all in and experiencing together. So I am going to figure out how to invite somebody on. So if you ask Sophie, you can say ask to join live, and then it will let me invite you. So anyway, we're going to have a conversation. Sophie, the amazing Sophie, is going to join me, and we're going to then do have a little conversation. And there she is. I'm going to do it that way. It says unable to join. Sophie, if you invite yourself to join me, it should. Let's go live. What fun. There we go. It says, I don't know why it says unable to join. Go live with Sophie. Oh dear. That's disappointing. Sophie, I wonder if you can ask me the questions in the chat, and we'll see if we can do it that way. Oh my goodness. There, yay, it's working. Yes. So you tap the button. Yay!
Hello!
Oh my gosh. Don't you just love technology? My goodness me. You look so glamorous. I love it.
I was so well set up, and now I'm going to do it on my phone, so give me a second.
Oh, thank you. And Leslie was there giving us advice as well, telling me what to do, why it wouldn't work. So thank you, Leslie.
Yay! So excited.
Learning from the master. Oh, I'm so excited to have you, Sophie. It's really, really kind of you to come on and have a chat with me this evening. Have you got the children to bed?
They're all in bed. It's all quiet.
Brilliant. Would you like to introduce yourself, and then we'll have our conversation?
So I'm Sophie Rugg, Pilates devotee for the last 6 years, I think.
Wow.
So excited to be speaking to you because I have so many questions.
I absolutely love Sophie. Sophie is the one who will always ask. Like, I love to be asked questions. Love, love, love it. And some people are shy about asking questions. Not Sophie. Sophie's right there to ask the question. And the great thing is Sophie always asks the questions that everybody else wants to know the answer to as well. So I know for sure that she's going to come up with some great questions today. So without further ado.
So these are all the questions I want to ask you in class when you're telling me I need to breathe instead.
Brilliant. That's so great.
Such fun. So I've known you, Claire. I measure the time that I've known you by the age of my youngest son. I don't know if you remember that I met you at Postnatal Pilates, which was my youngest.
Is it really?
Yeah, and he's 6. He's just turned 6. So I've been coming for 6 years. But I did Pilates before that with other people in gyms, this kind of thing. And I never got it. I did not get Pilates. I think I've told you this before. Just didn't get it. And then I came to this class. And oh, okay, yeah, I get this now. So what I want to know is, why does it take women to have a baby? Because I think it's the same for a lot of people to go, oh, okay, I get this now. should I have been doing it as my younger self?
Oh my gosh. I mean, yes, everybody obviously should be doing Pilates forever, for life. That's it. And I think that there's an interesting transition that women go through after they have a child, where they have a different understanding and experience of their body and an appreciation of its capabilities. And neural pathways have been simulated and altered and changed through having gone through a birth experience, however that birth experience is. And when you go through that, you then can feel and sense your body in a very different way than you might have done before. So certainly I would think that would have a big part to play in why you felt, you know. I think there's also a different desire in your body after you've had a child too. You go, right, okay, this is serious now. And it is a tool, it is something that we can really work with. So yeah, do you think that answers your question?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Because I also want to ask that you recently blew my mind. I don't know if you remember, to say everybody needs my pelvic health course. And I went, what? But I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm really smug. I do, great births, no problem. But what? Tell me more. What? Why? Why do I need it?
So yeah, it's really interesting. I was having a brilliant conversation the other day with the women's health physio, Anna Kroll, who I work really closely with, and we geek out. We have very shared beliefs and knowledge about pelvic health and it needing to be a whole body treatment, if you like, a holistic approach. And she gave me this mind-blowing statistic that I actually can't get out of my head, that 90% of women who give birth vaginally have some kind of scarring.
Okay.
So
mind blowing.
90%, that is so mind blowing. And then if you think about what a scar is, it's so if you have any kind of scar, it's like a magnet, and then all sorts of tissue grows and moves towards that magnet, and then that is transferred, that force is transferred all over the body. It reaches, miles. So you could have a scar in your pelvis that then impacts your shoulder or your neck, because it travels, the force of that travels. So if you've had a baby vaginally, you absolutely should do it. If you've had a cesarean section, that's a whole other reason to do it, because you've been cut all the way through. All the layers have been cut through.
Wow.
And that is a big scar then that then needs to be built upon. Within the course, what we do is we have key concepts that you work through, which are breathing, where we're actually looking at, obviously we understand breath from a respiration point of view, but understanding the relationship of the diaphragm of breathing and the diaphragms of the pelvis, and working through that and stimulating that, helping the neural pathway so that it's working together and not out of sync. And then we look at breath in terms of movement, and if your rib cage is not moving fully, then that's going to have an impact on your pelvis. Also things like your jaw, because what's happening here is also happening down there. So if you're a teeth grinder, then that's going to be affecting. I know you are.
Not so small anymore.
Not so smug anymore. And I can, there's certain things. So if somebody is moving in a certain way in their pelvis, I'll look up at their head and assess what's going on with their head to see whether or not it's coming from here or coming from there, or it's a mixture of the both. If we can maybe do, like I've been doing with some clients, I've been working on like screaming, not with sound, but getting that opening and stretching. So yeah, So yeah, so we go through, and then there's a whole bunch of other concepts, but we basically are working through unwinding and unraveling the tensions that are built from potential scarring. If you've had a birth injury, a traumatic birth where perhaps there's been some intervention and you've had an episiotomy or a tear, then that definitely has got some scarring, and that can create sciatic problems. It can create just general hip pain, lower back pain, just because of the scarring. And when it's severe, Anna, who I work with, the women's health physio, she can gently work that out and release that tension and do that manually. And then within the course, there's techniques that we do where you do some abdominal massage, you use the softball. I mean, you know how much I'm obsessed with the softball. You can use this, I know you've got one, yay! You can use your softball to actually release the tissue, that scarring build up tissue externally, so you can work on that really easily and gently on your own. So yes, if you've had a baby, this course is for you. And at any point, because you know, like we've got women, and it's just phenomenal. You know, there's older women who have accepted for 30 plus years pain. You know, it makes me really upset to think about it when they just accepted because it's a medical professional has said that, well, that's just because you're going through the menopause, or that's because you had big babies, or, you know, pain, incontinence, you know, and not being able to have intercourse, or pain during intercourse, constant backache, loads and loads of things, not able to do things like riding a bike or go on a trampoline. Why shouldn't you be able to do those if you're
many women would just accept, I've had children, I can't go on a trampoline.
And that's because,
and that's it.
I know, but that's because we all just have that same conversation. I mean, you saw my post the other week. I was like, just because that's what everybody says doesn't make that the fact and the rule. And it's like, oh, it absolutely drives me to distraction. And you know, at the beginning of this year, I had set to, I was going to put this course out online, and it was like it was coming out of me, because I just, everywhere I went, everywhere I turned, there were women just accepting, or they were suffering, and the pain and suffering is just off the chart. And it's not acceptable.
But accepted though, I think this is not talked about, and this is what's so mind-blowing to me. Number one, that you're talking about it, and number two, just blowing all those myths.
We need to blow those myths, don't we?
Yeah.
It's really, really important.
Yes, so important. So my next question, Claire, you've been described as a magician. I've seen it. I don't think it was, you have been. So when a new client walks into the studio, tell me the top, what do you see? Before what do you see? What do you look for?
Do you know, it's a really interesting thing. I think it's not what I see more, it's what I feel.
Okay, tell me more.
So, I mean, I really go with my intuition and my sense of that person. And you know, we with Polestar, the teacher training that I teach for, we teach an element of energy medicine, and that field of energy that you're experiencing from another person. I really respond to that first when somebody comes in, and then it's about the conversation that we have, the little bits of the less obvious information that they tell me, how they sit on the Cadillac. You know, we sometimes, I play around with when they come in, you know, I watch them walk when we're not in session yet. I'll watch them walk, and I'll get a sense of, is the stride short or long? That tells me loads. Okay. Because that, like, you know, we might call it a shuffling gait. If it's a short gait, then I know there's going to be some imbalance in the pelvis. from that. So I'm already thinking from there. Then we're going to have conversation. So I'll play around with where I sit them. Am I going to sit them somewhere that's going to be easy for them to sit, or somewhere where they're going to have to fidget about to get comfortable? And then I can see their natural movement strategy to where they fidget about. I know I'm wicked. I'm so wicked.
So much going on.
So much going on. So much
and are you able
on.
to see that even in a math class where you might have, I don't know, 6, 7 people?
Oh my gosh, you lot on Zoom.
What can you see?
That you're hiding because you're in your house at home, and I don't miss the trick. Let me tell you, I don't miss the trick. Yes, so it doesn't matter what the environment is that I am seeing peripherally. I'm sensing and aware of what's going on, and looking for all those hidden signals and the body language, that, you know, all of the less obvious things. And, you know, I've been doing this a really long time.
Yeah.
You know, I posted the other day and I was thinking, gosh, my granny and my high school dance teacher absolutely said I was a teacher from, you know, very young, and always watching and teaching movement, and it's then become second nature.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to ask you a little bit about, you are, in my mind, a really successful entrepreneur. And yeah.
That's so funny.
So one of the things that I really admire about you is, notwithstanding the pandemic, you have designed, I think you said this before, you've designed and built the lifestyle that you want. You once said one of your motivations is that you can walk to work.
Oh, that's
built
huge.
a whole studio around that. And I'm just interested to know, how did you know you could do that? How did you, because how did so many women, I think, and people will follow the path that sort of fate takes them on. And I think there's an element of taking control that perhaps a lot of people wouldn't see. And I'm really interested when was your moment where you thought, do you know what, I can lead the life that I want to lead, and I can design that, and if I want to walk to work, I'm gonna walk to work?
I mean, it's so funny. I love that. I absolutely love it. Do you know, I mean, I am standing more strongly into that role, I feel like, as being an entrepreneur. And, you know, like, you know, I refer to my granny all the time because she's like the most inspiring woman ever to me. And I will, you know, she's like 96, 97, and she still does, like, she can't go out now because of the pandemic. So she looked out these little tiny dumbbells. So she sits in her chair and does this. And that's the kind of influence that I've had. And when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was out with the skateboard that my dad had made me with toys on it, and I was going door to door selling. I have always been an entrepreneur. I don't think any other way than I'm going to do that. And I don't necessarily expect or think of what the outcome actually looks like specifically. I just go through the process until I get to what feels right.
Okay.
So I'm not, you know, there is some vision, some goals, and I work on goal setting, and it's not, I don't know, it's not super duper specific. Having said that, yes, I absolutely, we knew that we needed to change lifestyle, and getting in the car seemed to just contrast. It just was this weird, like the opposite of everything that I believed in. To go and teach all day and teach everybody else about the importance of movement and integrating movement into your everyday life and making it easy to move in your own home and all of those things. And then I was getting in my car, I was just not moving from A to B, and it was just ridiculous. So, you know, I think that the big nudge was when I fell pregnant with number 3.
Okay.
And so I went, hang on a minute. hang on a minute. Not only am I driving to work, I'm driving children, school here, school there, childminder, blah, blah. And I'm going to be doing the school run for another 11 years. And I went, okay, no, game changer. Now is the time. I'm over it. We moved house. We gave up the old studio, started a new studio, and everything. That was it. That was it. It had to be. And actually, the studio that we're in now is not the studio I chose.
Oh.
It chose me, which is really interesting. So it was like, yes, and I think that just proves the point that I was saying is, yes, I had the goal, like, this is what we're going to do, and it's going to be a walkable lifestyle. And we made that decision, and then we found a place. That was it. We're going to do that, and then that all fell apart, that venue, and the only thing that was left that we could get a lease for, turn it around in time, was where we are now. And I went with one of the teachers, lovely Ria, and I was like, I just don't know. And she brought a mat, a beautiful Beyond mat, one of her mats, and she laid out a mat, and she was like, I can see it. And then she conjured the picture for me, and then I could see, it was like I could see in this hideous building, I could see and feel what we could make it. And then, I mean, you know how amazing the studio is.
Yeah.
So was meant for me. And so in that process, it was like, okay, well, that's not happening, right? Let's make the best of what can happen. That's still working towards the goal, the values and the goal. So yeah, so there you go.
So we're both mothers of boys, aren't we? You've got 3, I've got 2, and this is a question from my husband, really.
Brilliant.
What about men? Why are there no men? Why are men not doing it?
Oh, more and more men are coming to Pilates. It amazes me when I think back to when I first started teaching, and I was only teaching mat work. There were no men, and I found it really strange that the 3 teacher trainers that I knew were men, yet all the participants I knew, and remember Joseph Pilates himself
was a man. Yeah.
So it's really fascinating how it's evolved.
Talking about it, I don't know about your boys. My boys never stop moving. They're leaping. Yep. They don't know Pilates, but they do Pilates.
All the time.
My son, he's doing, he's rocking and he's doing, all sorts. When does that stops though, doesn't it? It stops, and I think it does for all of us. And some of the things that we do, like jackknife and this kind of thing, I used to do that. When do we stop? When do we stop?
I think a lot of it comes when they go to school. When we go to school and we're told to sit still, and we're sat in rows, or we've got to sit at desks, but we're in a situation where we have to be quiet, we have to be still. It's not free, and that's when it all changes, isn't it?
It must be.
Yeah. Well, my boys move all the time too. I mean, I said before, we have such little furniture in our living room. It's all balls and, spine connectors and whatever else, and they just play.
Such a good idea. So we're obviously coming to the end, kind of the second lockdown in the UK, and I've been one of your Zoom stalwarts since March now.
Oh God, I know.
The other day, and I said, well, it's brilliant because I don't have to go anywhere. I don't think I could be bothered to leave the house again. And I think seeing it generally as, it's been great being able to carry on a Zoom, but it's not the same. I know you're a pretty positive person. What have been the benefits for you of the last 8 to 9 months? What have been the good things about it, and what have you learned?
Yeah, I mean, so many things. I think it's important to sort of acknowledge. So for me, I really feel the sadness and sorrow for so many of our clients who have experienced loss because of COVID, and people who have lost parents, husbands, and it is desperately, desperately sad. And I never want to underplay that sadness and that loss and that sorrow for people. And I also am a strong believer in seeing positives. And whilst there isn't a positive in a loved one dying, in the overall situation that we are in, I am very blessed and very lucky that I am resilient, that I can see opportunities and ways to pivot and keep true to what I believe in. And what I believe in is that we can make Pilates accessible. And no pandemic is going to stop me making that accessible. Zoom, I didn't really know much about it. I've done virtual private sessions with people for years and only ever used Skype because I knew. And so I've learned the skill of Zoom, and now I'm troubleshooting on Zoom when people have technical issues, and it's like in March I had no clue. That's been fantastic. It's really offered opportunities for people who I couldn't have taught before.
Yeah.
And that is so, one of the ladies in our class is just the most amazing individual. And I haven't taught her since we moved to Chapel Allerton. And because of Zoom, I now get to teach her again, and reconnecting with her and all of the other people that I've been able to reconnect with has been such a treat. Yeah. It really has been such a treat to pick that up with people, students that I've been able to work with from Polestar, from all over, and supporting them towards their exams at such a strange time for them. And I feel like, my positivity helps and rubs off on them and helps for them to feel like, yeah, things are possible. Yeah, we can do this. And that's really important. And me actually pausing and taking more time for self-care has been really important in this year, because I have been reasonably aware and quite good. My husband Scott is amazing at allowing me opportunities for self-care, and I think that I've needed it even more in this year, and I'm going to definitely be carrying that on without a shadow of a doubt after this. Does that answer your question, Sophie?
Yes. So I have a few quick fires for you.
Okay, great.
Really quickly before we finish. You stop doing, and it's a scenario, the first one, you stop doing Pilates for a few weeks. It's the first thing you notice.
Oh my God, my sore neck. That would be it.
Top 3 Pilates life hacks.
Oh, top 3 Pilates life hacks. Have a squishy ball everywhere you go. So you can sit on it, massage it, do adductor squeezes, whatever.
Yeah.
Put your toilet roll behind you on the cistern, not on some rack, so you're spine twisting. That's one of my favorites. And swap your dishes around so that you in the kitchen, so that you have to squat down to get your dishes from a low cupboard, not always from a high cupboard. And yeah,
that's a good one. Biggest change you've seen in someone who's done Pilates for a long time?
Oh wow, I had somebody recently who had come in chronic pain, had wanted to be able to run a 5K without pain. She had knee and hip pain. She'd had hip surgery. So she wanted to be able to run a 5K, and she wanted to get strong enough to get pregnant. And both those things happened.
What a marvellous story, marvellous. And finally, why do I sleep so well after a Pilates class? I do.
Because so much of our life is spent in that sympathetic, where we're just like in the front of our body, in the front of our brain, in the front. And then we come to Pilates, and I work a lot on getting you into that more relaxed state. You've focused on your breathing, you've expanded your body, and you've just rested into the back of your body, and you will sleep like a log.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you very much. And my final one. I've seen you achieve so much in the last 6 years that I've known you. It's only 6 years. It feels longer in some ways.
It does feel longer.
And I have a feeling that you have no intention of stopping here. What's next for you, Claire Sparrow?
Oh my goodness, I've got so many things. I have quite a big list at the moment I'm really excited about. And next year, I will be teaching at the Pilates Method Alliance online, which is super exciting. And I'm glad that it's come online because it offers more people internationally to attend it, because travel, it can be a real barrier. You know,
Yeah.
it's why I've not attended before. So I'm really excited to be doing that. And I'm going to be doing more education, more mentorship, which will involve a bit of pre-recorded and some online, and then some retreats together where I can give all of the kind of tools and skills that I've learned over the years in self-care, Pilates, teaching, and business, all wrapped up into one thing. And yeah, more self-care for me and my family. That's definitely on my goal too.
So important. And anything for the studio?
The studio is going to have more equipment,
Oh,
hopefully, in the future, and more teachers, more buzz, more, just more of the same, I think, at the studio.
so excited to come back.
I can't wait. I
So
can't wait.
long. It's been so long. And I think that's
And
all of my questions for now. I'm sure I will have a million more.
oh, it's been so great. I absolutely love this. Sophie, you are the best at interviewing. You've done such a great job. Thank you for joining me and
Thank you
doing
for
this
inviting me.
today. It's been so great. Your questions were fantastic. And I think there's going to be lots of people who have been watching and listening today that will have had their questions asked.
Oh,
Thanks to you for that. So maybe we need to do this again. I think it's
for
gone really
sure.
well. So give us a shout out, folks, if you'd like us to do this again. And thank you all for joining us too. We've had quite a lot of people popping in and out, so it's been really nice to see you all. Thanks, Sophie, and I will see you
Thank
on
you, Claire.
Tuesday.
Speak
Thank
to
you.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.